Hello and welcome to Modelling Misadventures. Now we're back on the Benbuckle Super 60 and last time we finished off the fuselage, and in this episode we're going to be working on all the bits around the tail. So the horizontal stabiliser, the rudder, and we'll be fitting the electronics that control those surfaces. So exciting stuff, let's get going. So I've got the bench cleared, I've put the fuselage to one side, I've had to turn everything around a little bit, and now it's time to get on with this. The horizontal stabiliser or the tailplane, and actually I think it's going to be pretty easy to make. I reckon we'll be able to knock it up pretty fast. This looks like another easy bit. What do you think of it? Well, it looks a bit small to me. What do you mean it looks a bit small? Well, it'll never fly, that thing on it. Well, that's not the wing, it's a tailplane. The tailplane? What's a tailplane for? Well, it's to stop the plane from crashing. Not when you're flying it, it won't. Right, I've got to get this off. Got to take the pins out, and I've got myself a new tool so that I don't have to borrow Sarah's cake spatula. Well, that's the tailplane finished. Pretty happy with how it's come off. It looks a bit rough to me. What do you mean it looks a bit rough? What are those things at the end poking out? Yeah, I've got to cut those off. It's not finished yet. You've got to sand it down. Oh. Well, let's hope it looks better at the end than it does now.
Leave it very hard. You just make sure, like this.
Right, we're all ready for the next. What are you wearing that mask for? Well, I'm ready to do the sanding. Sanding's already done. I did it this afternoon. Look, pieces are all ready. Oh, bloody hell, have I missed it? Yeah, you've missed it all. We're going to glue these on now. Now I need to make sure this is absolutely square. It's looking pretty good. I'm using those Lego pieces as a right angle. Look at this little beauty. Got the fin on now, nice and straight. So now we've got to put the rudder on and the elevator on the horizontal tailplane. Now to fit these control surfaces on, I'm going to use these little hinges that came with the kit, and I'm going to use this thing called a slot cutter, which will make a nice perfectly sized hole in the wood that you can slide these hinges into. So what we're going to do here is use this little jig here thing, and that clamps onto the back of the tailplane like that, and then we can push this blade into there and carve out a hole. Now I've got a little winkle picker to scoop it all out. And that'll go in there now. Perfect fit. Look at that. Marvellous. Well, that was a horrible job. Cutting all those slots took ages, but here's where we're at. We've got the tailplane with its rudder and elevator on. These haven't been glued in yet, they're just held on temporarily. But that's brought us to the end of another phase, and I'm pretty happy with how it's looking. Well, Des, what do you think? Oh, it's looking very nice. It is, isn't it? I noticed you weren't around when we did all that slot cutting. Where were you? Oh, I was a little dizzy. Oh, well, maybe you'll be able to help a bit more with the next section. Oh, yes, don't worry. I'll definitely help with that. All right, so I guess that brings us to the end of this particular section. Do you want to do the sign off? All right, everybody, that brings us to the end of another section. We'll see you next time on Modelling Misadventures.